we are here with Kendal Wayne. She's a basketball player at Taylor University. I've known Kendal for a while. Her dad is on the board of directors at AGAITAS, and she's an expert babysitter for our youngest son. Kendal, thanks for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so could you just give a little background on you, where you grew up, what sports did you play, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, so I'm from Warsaw, and I've grown up there my whole life. I went to Warsaw High School. I played volleyball up until high school, and then I played basketball my whole life, and now I'm at Taylor University playing collegiately. So yeah.
Okay. How was your experience playing at Warsaw? So Warsaw is a bigger high school, a little over 2,000 kids, secular school. So what was it like playing then? And then also, were you a believer in high school, or is that something that happened when you came to Taylor?
Yeah, so I've been a believer for a while. I grew up in a Christian home, but yeah, like you said, high school was definitely different, and just like the transition from middle school to high school, and then like trying to weave my faith into playing basketball. I would say it was easier because my coach was a believer, and he would try to incorporate different faith things into the things that we would learn, and we would have devotions before games and pray. And so I didn't find that super difficult, even though I was at a secular school. So I was really blessed because a lot of other people, and like some of my teammates now, they didn't have that opportunity in high school. So yeah.
So when your team would get together and pray or do devotions, is that something you led, or was that led by your coaches?
It was led by our coaches, and then as we, like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, then he would have like the upperclassmen lead it. And so, yeah, as a senior, sometimes I would lead devotions and then lead prayer and stuff before games.
What was like the hardest part for you as a senior? Having your teammates like looking at you doing devotions, like what was the hardest part about that? Or was that easy for you?
I mean, as a high school, like I was super like soft-spoken, and I like to lead by example. So like leading a devotion, having people like listen to what I had to say was kind of nerve-wracking. But yeah, I definitely got used to it, and it's a big deal having like people listen to what you say, especially like as a Christ follower. You're always on display for the world, and some of my teammates in high school weren't believers, so that took it to a higher level of like what I had to say, and made sure that it like resonated with them.
Yeah. How hard was it to like what you were saying in the devotions or the prayer, just in your personal life, and then you get on the basketball court, and I'm sure you were always super nice to everyone, never fouling anyone hard or anything like that. But like, how do you walk those lines of just because we're believers doesn't mean we can't compete hard or kind of get mad? And so how would you ever think about that when in your play?
Yeah, I would. A verse that even today I try to live by is like, whatever you do, work it out with all your heart, as if working for the Lord and not for man. So I try to like translate that, whether that be a good or bad game. And also identity was a big thing for me in high school, because I liked to wrap up how I thought of myself on the court, whether that be the points I scored or whether we won or lost. So that was a big thing also in high school, on how I took my identity from like the world or the sports that I played, and tried to have that all wrapped up in Christ.
So when you talk about the identity part, now that you're a senior in college, looking back at like the senior in high school or that junior or sophomore, whatever, that was putting their identity wrapped up in basketball, like what would you say to that high schooler now?
Yeah, I'd have a lot to say to that high schooler, because I feel like I've grown so much in that area. I would just say like relax and just have fun, and like nothing that you do is as important as like your relationship with Christ and how you're showing that to the world and just like loosen up, like have fun. I just like, now that it's like my last year playing basketball, I wish I could go back to those days and just tell myself to just leave it all out on the court and not care what people think.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. So when you graduated Warsaw, did you know right away you were going to Taylor because your dad was a basketball stud there and ran campus, or did you have to really decide?
So, like, following in his footsteps is not something that I like wanted to do, because I heard about Taylor all throughout like my whole life, and I was like, I want to do something different. Like, I want to take my own path, but God has a funny way of opening doors, and I fell in love with Taylor the first time I visited, and then I had the opportunity to play here, because originally I didn't really want to play in high school or in college. After high school, I was just like, I just want to focus on like academics, but I really couldn't give up the sport since I loved it so much, and I feel like I have a platform, and so God opened a lot of doors and led me to Taylor. So
yeah. And so tell me a little bit about the spiritual aspect of Taylor for the team. Do you guys do the devotions and prayer and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, we do. So the spiritual aspect is such a big part here, which I'm so grateful for. I've grown so much in my faith. When I was a freshman and sophomore, we had a different coach than I do now, and we would have like Sunday dinners. His wife would pour into us, and we would go over to their house, and she would lead devotion, and then we'd split off into like small groups, and that's when you would get super deep with your different teammates and learn how they're doing in their life in school, and then we would just pray for each other. And then like a good example was last night we had a worship night at campus, and like it wasn't mandatory or anything, but our team was there worshiping together, which is it's just an amazing time here at Taylor. So yeah.
So now as a senior, are you in any leadership roles with your team, do you feel like, as far as being a spiritual leader? And what's the makeup of your team? I think a lot of people think they go to a Christian university and there's only believers on the team. But I still have to believe that there's still an opportunity for you to share your faith inside your team, and especially with the other teams you're competing against, right? Yeah.
So yeah, as a senior, some of our freshmen coming in this year don't have like a super strong faith background. So as I'm a captain on my team, so the other captains and I met this summer, and we're like, we have a big job, big role to fill this year, just taking those younger kids under our wings and making sure they feel known and loved, and trying to grow their faith and their spiritual life. So, and then like this coming Sunday will be our first like kickoff devotion group. We're diving into a book, and we'll have dinner together and just spend time together this Sunday. So yeah,
that's awesome. No, that's great. So what are your next plans then after graduation?
So the plan as of now is to go to IUPUI to further my nursing, because Taylor doesn't have a nursing program just yet. They just introduced it this year, which is kind of frustrating. But okay. It's an accelerated nursing program, so it's 16 months, and then I'll have my RN from there. So
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, Kendal. It's awesome to hear about in high school and then into your college experience. And I guess just to kind of wrap things up, when hopefully the goal of this is that middle school athletes, high school athletes, and college athletes are watching this and wondering how they can share their faith inside their team. So is there any like last minute advice or any advice that you would give someone that's looking to do that?
I would just say surround yourself with people that are growing you and have the same mindset and goals as you, and then make a plan to reach the people that are struggling or aren't as far along in their faith journey as you are, and just taking them and coming alongside them, praying for them, making sure they feel loved and known. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. And the last question I just thought of, is if someone is trying this inside their school and they might not be getting the results that they want, like maybe one person showing up to devotions from their team or two people, what kind of encouragement could you give somebody that is trying, but it's not, the results aren't there yet?
That's a good question. I would say, like, don't give up, because obviously you feel this calling for a reason. And even if it's one person, that's one person for the kingdom. So, and if their life has changed and they're sharing about it to other people, more people will come. So I just say to keep doing it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kendall.